Who would win in a fight, Anivia from League of Legends or Phoenix from Dota 2? Today we'll pit these two against each other in two battles, one the battle of the lore and one the battle of the in-game abilities. First up, here's a little lore summary of both characters. Anivia is an ancient Freljordian demigod who represents the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, intrinsically associated with the changing of seasons. To those who venerate her, she is the elemental soul of the Freljord, a symbol of hope and a sacred catalyst of change. The songs of the nomadic Notide tribe tell how Anivia's birth first brought snow into the world. When she burst from her giant egg of ice, tiny pieces of it were hurled into the sky, and has fallen as snow ever since. And according to the sages of the Morncrow tribe, the frigid winds that scour the Freljord originate from the first beats of her wings. Indeed, the full power of winter is Anivia's to command. To those who seek to desecrate her homeland, she is a bitter foe. When roused to anger, she can cleave fortresses and mountains, and her screech can summon blizzards cold enough to shatter steel. When mortals first arrived in the Freljord, Anivia welcomed them. Seeing that they could not withstand the cold, she guided them to secluded valleys where they could shelter, become established, and slowly harden themselves against the elements. She nurtured and watched over them for those precious centuries, and they in turn worshipped her. Death cannot touch Anivia herself. The sagas speak of how she has been struck down and slain a handful of times throughout history, though she is always reborn. For as long as the Freljord exists, her soul is immortal. While it may be hundreds or even thousands of years before she rises again, each rebirth coincides with the dawning of a new era. Thus, her appearance, while regarded as a wondrous blessing, is often the harbinger of something terrible on the horizon. Phoenix is every star in the heavens. It is his cosmic duty to burn and provide himself as a sun to nearby celestial bodies, only to die out and be reborn to another star in another part of the constellation. Over many long cycles, Phoenix began to inquire and study the worlds around him. As he focused himself on the battle of the ancients, he knew that if he did not intervene, soon a cosmic threat could arise should one succeed. He took on a terrestrial form and descended on the world, ready to shine his warmth on those who needed it most. Anivia is very protective of her people and will stop at nothing to destroy invaders to her realm. As Phoenix descended from the heavens, assuming a flaming terrestrial form, Anivia would see him as an antithesis to the Freljord, and therefore a threat to her people. Phoenix, assuming he is doing good, would offer his warmth to those around him, melting the snows from the harsh lands, and perhaps accidentally removing the Freljordians' belief that they had to live in the harsh snows with Anivia. As they begin to remove the statues of Anivia as their god and enacting those of Phoenix's, she would descend upon them from her mountain perch, letting out an awful screech of anger and despair. Sensing a threat to Phoenix's new people, he would be on guard, both godlike beings thinking that their people are under attack by the one destroying the land around them. Striking first, Anivia would dive bomb him with an ice bomb, attempting to encase Phoenix before he could take flight. Phoenix would react in kind, surging his supernova-like flames to melt away the ice, as Anivia strikes at him again with multiple shards of ice from above, shredding his form. Finally able to take flight, Phoenix begins pursuing Anivia. They would then begin a dogfight of cat and mouse, neither one gaining the upper hand, as the Freljordians watched from below, a once-in-a-lifetime spectacle, both beautiful and horrifying. Soon Anivia's power would begin to wane. She had only the experience of flying a world. Phoenix had the cosmos. His endurance would soon win out. Standing at the highest mountain peaks, Phoenix would crash Anivia into it, billowing flames stirring in his mouth as he shot out a sun ray, imbuing her into the mountaintop. Now we'll be moving to the battle of the in-game abilities. We won't be using any in-game number values as both games have different design philosophies, and we'll simply be looking at the abilities in a vacuum. In case you need a summary of the abilities, here they are. Anivia's passive allows her to turn into an egg upon death and slowly begin to revive. Anivia's Q is a projectile she can throw out, and she can recast at any time to stun at the current locations it's at. It also applies chill to all enemies it hits. Anivia's W summons an impassable wall. Anivia's E is a targeted spell that does moderate magic damage, or does increased magic damage if they have recently been hit by her Q or her ultimate. Anivia's ultimate creates a large AoE on the ground that slows and damages enemies in it. Phoenix's Q allows him to dive in an arc, and at any time he can recast it to cancel the dive. Phoenix's W gives him 4 projectiles he can shoot out, that when they connect with an enemy, they slow their attack speed and deal burn damage. Phoenix's E is Sunray. He can use that to burn percent damage on enemies or heal his teammates. Phoenix's ultimate is that he turns himself into an egg, burning enemies around him, and if the egg is not destroyed, he is reborn with full HP and no cooldowns. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into the battle. In this matchup, I think there's a severe mobility advantage towards Phoenix. If Anivia uses her W at any time, Phoenix can just Q to either engage or disengage further away, completely negating Anivia's W in this matchup at all. She's waiting for an opportune moment during Phoenix's Sunray to be able to land a stun with her Q while Phoenix is immobile. If it connects, it's Anivia's only hope to win this battle, and she has to burst him down during that 1 second that he's stunned before he can activate Egg. Anivia has nothing that generates attack speed for her, so if Phoenix ever gets 1W off on Anivia to slow her attack speed, there is zero chance that she can ever break Egg, meaning Phoenix always has 2 lives in this matchup. And so I think either through just having the better kit or having access to these 2 lives, Phoenix should win almost every single engagement in the 1v1 matchup. So there we have it for today, with Phoenix winning with a clean 2-0 sweep. If you guys wouldn't mind subscribing, it would really help me out with the algorithm, and I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can get monetized.